Welcome to the Land Your Bet Sports Betting Show. Quick WNBA episode here on Sunday. We've got 4 games on the slate. I've got 5 bets for you guys as we run through those real quick. Quick reminder, we're going to have the live stream at 5 p.m. Eastern today on Sunday, getting ahead of Game 2 in the NBA Finals. So definitely make sure to check that out. Bring your bets. Jump in the comments. We go through all that stuff together. Also, just want to mention on the WNBA this season, 6-3, nice little start, plus 2.93 units on the young season so far. We'll continue to get more of these videos out for you guys moving forward so we can get to these WNBA bets. See you at 5 p.m. for that NBA stream. For now, let's get right into this WNBA action. First game on the slate, the Liberty and the Mystics. Could not be a bigger mismatch. As we know, the Liberty are now in first after a nice win on Saturday against the Sun of Connecticut. So they are going to be looking at a 10-2 record moving into this one. Everything for them is pretty much in the top 5 outside of the pace at which they're playing. They've actually slowed down a ton, have the Liberty, in the last few games after being up in the top 5 in pace on the season, mostly because they do a lot of fast breaking, get out into transition very consistently with those ball handlers all over the floor. And that's why their offensive rating tops in the league. Defensive rating also very nice, right at about 4th, where it's been for most of the year. Like I said, pace has dropped a ton, so fewer points coming in Liberty games than were at the beginning of the season, first like 4 or 5 games or so specifically. And then you look at rebounding, everything else, really, really good shooting team, good at limiting the other team's shots from going in, and the third best rebounding team in the league according to rebound percentage. And then for the Mystics, pretty much the opposite, right? Worst offense in the league, very bad defense, not great at rebounding, although they are much better down low than they are everywhere else, which is something we'll talk about here in just a sec. And then as far as rebounding, shooting, and limiting the other team's shooting, not good for this team. They are missing a couple of bigs down low in Sykes and Shakira Austin. So they'll continue to play without those players, though, because they have been without them for the last 3 or 4 games. Sykes pretty much for the whole season. But let's take a look at a couple of the bets I have for this game. Guess what? I'm going plus 15.5 for the Mystics in this one, partly because I was waiting for something like this to happen with the Liberty on the second leg of the back-to-back. This game starting at 3 p.m. on the East Coast, which means a little bit of an earlier start than normal, a little afternoon game following another afternoon game on Saturday where they beat the Sun as well. So I should make that clear. The Liberty had a win yesterday, but that's also a part of this. It's a big letdown game going from playing the best team in the league to playing the worst team in the league that still has not won a game in Washington. So there's just natural tendency to not come with it as hard, especially after they got up so high for that first and second place battle that they had with the Sun on Saturday, right? But there's also some other stuff for the Mystics here that's trending upwards, and we should be starting to look at them as the possibility of them winning soon. Probably not this one, but if you look at the way they play defense, they're very good at limiting fast break points against the Liberty, which is going to be what the Liberty want to do, like we mentioned. They're very good at limiting points in the paint. So I don't think Jonquel Jones and Brianna Stewart are necessarily going to dominate down low the way that they have against other teams. And then you look at the second chance points, similar concept here where Washington, because they are pretty good down low, despite not being the best rebounding team by any means in the league for the Mystics, they can hang down low to get those defensive rebounds enough that they can limit any sort of second chance points and putbacks that we might see the Liberty try to bring their way. So we're going to take them with the points in this one. I also prefer an under at about 158.5. It's dropped down now all the way from about 160 where it opened. So I lost the value on the under to be able to give that to you guys. But because I do like a slower pace with fewer points, that usually tends to lead towards the underdog covering, especially a massive spread like 15.5 points. So let's take Aaliyah Edwards to go ahead and get hers in this game. Specifically the rebounds. That's what I prefer over anything here. 8.5 boards. If she goes over that, we cash that at even money on MGM for a full unit there. And then I'm putting a half unit on the SGP, the same game parlay. 10 plus points for Edwards alongside 8 plus rebounds gets us plus 140 on our money. So a half a unit on that. Basically, this is all about her playing without Shakira Austin, who's going to be missing this game once again. So Aaliyah Edwards, in the games that she's played without Shakira Austin, 29.2 minutes per game. In the game she's played with Austin, 18.2. So she's the clear substitute coming in, playing for Austin down low and doing some pretty good work on the boards. Honestly, been beasting down there without Austin over in 4 of her last 5 on this season when Austin is out. That's in the last 3 games where Austin's most recently missed, over in all 3 of those as well. And she's up at about 10.2 boards per game in those 5 games without Shakira Austin. As far as the points go, a little bit less likely. So I'm just adding it to the same game parlay because I still think 10 points is a good number for her in this one. She's gotten that twice. She is averaging about that amount of points per game without Shakira Austin, but there was a few spike games in there that kind of distort those averages, but I still like it as a nice little same game parlay in the event that she's able to get a few putbacks and the like against the Liberty, who are much worse down low than they are guarding the perimeter. We should make that clear. Top three offensive team or defensive team are the Liberty against everything outside the perimeter. Once you get into the paint and right next to the basket, much worse, about middle of the pack, basically 7th or 8th in terms of limiting points in the paint for the Liberty. Next game we're looking at should be a pretty good one, actually, between the Mercury and the Wings. We do have Brittany Griner back, which is going to be huge for this Phoenix Mercury squad. I'll get into that here in just a bit more. But what is important is that everything for the Phoenix Mercury on defense should be a lot better, especially down low, where they have been pretty good already on defense, I should say, but only getting better now with Brittany Griner back down low defending the paint and the rim for this Phoenix Mercury team. Offensive rating right at about 5th best in the league, tied for 5th, should be clear, like really the exact same offensive rating as another squad there that they're tied with. Defensively, have not been good, though. Everywhere on the floor. And I'm attributing a lot of that to the lack of Brittany Griner up to this point. They have not been able to necessarily get out and defend the three-point line as well as they might like to because of the fact that they don't really have any rim protection down low. Just has not been the same with Brittany Griner's injury, keeping her off the floor. And then the rebounding and everything else as far as like limiting the other team's effective field goal percentage, second chance points, all that kind of stuff will be going back up for the Phoenix Mercury in terms of their ranking in the W right now. As far as the Wings go, they have actually been really good on offense all over the place. Where they are good on offense is a lot of the places that Phoenix has struggled throughout the season, but we've seen them getting better. Both these teams were playing at a very, very fast pace. In fact, Dallas has been playing so fast that they are still third. But if you look at the last 5 or 6 games for both of these teams, down to the second and third slowest pace in the league, second slowest for Phoenix, third slowest for Dallas. And I think that's going to continue to be the case here, which should play a little bit more into the hands of the Phoenix Mercury, which we'll talk about right now. Because I'm taking Phoenix -1 on the road in this game. And the public and probably some sharps have definitely been in agreement with me if you see the way that this number has dropped. It started, and when this line opened, with Phoenix +3.5, all the way down now to -1 for the Mercury. And I still think it's a really good number for them. It was totally mispriced to open, in large part due to Griner's presence back in the lineup, right? We saw her play last game for the first time. Now she's back. But the other thing that's really working for Phoenix here and allowing us to get a lot of value off of this line is because they are so bad on the road record-wise right now. The Mercury are 1-5 in their 6 road games on the season. But if you look at who they played in those 6 games, they played Seattle, they've played Minnesota, which was a nice win in the last game, the Liberty and the Aces twice. So we're talking about the top 5 teams in the league, essentially. 5 of the top 6 are all the games that they've lost on the road this season. Not going to really hold that against them on a shorthanded squad for Phoenix versus all of these full strength teams that they've lost to. Like I said, the Aces twice, right? The defending champs. So not really anything to be ashamed of there, but I think it's a good turnaround time for this squad for Phoenix to take a little bit of a jump in the standings moving forward. The points in the paint are going to be everything. We saw the way that these teams matched up last time. Dallas doubled up the Phoenix Mercury in terms of the amount of points that they scored close to the basket and in the paint, 52-26 in their last matchup. And Phoenix has only gotten better. Like I said, as things have slowed down a little bit for them, they've climbed all the way up to the number 2 team in terms of limiting points in the paint. Now with Griner back, that should only continue to stay at second or even jump up into the best team defending the paint in the season. So we're going to take them to cover the point here. Not mad if you want to take a little alt spread for some plus money as well for Phoenix to cover, say, 3.5, 4.5 points. Let's close out this episode with Brittany Griner as well. I know this is going to be a higher number than what she scored last game, 11 points in her opening match there in the last one against Minnesota on Saturday. But 21 minutes, and that should only continue to go up for Griner. We saw her average up about 30 minutes last time she was at full strength in the league, right? Now we're talking about a game against a team where I do think she'll have some success down low because Dallas is so bad at limiting points in the paint, second worst in the league, actually, in terms of limiting points to their opponent right around the basket. For Griner, we saw her take 6 shots. She hit 3 of them. She went to the line 5 times, right? So that was about 3 more field goal attempts that she took in the 21 minutes, where it didn't count as a field goal attempt because she went to the free throw line and got fouled on the shot, where she made all 5 of her free throws and has always been a very good free throw shooter, which is a part of her dominance because she's so big. We know that everybody's going to need to hack her more often than not. So I still think she's going to get a ton of free throws against this Dallas squad, who gives up the second most free throw attempts per game in the league and the second most points in the paint. So everything screams Griner should have a day here as long as she gets about 25, 26 minutes, which we should expect her minutes to only continue to rise as she does continue to get healthier from that injury. 1 game under her belt, we're going to take her to get over 13.5 points in this one. And that is all the time that I have for you guys. Do want to remind you once again, going to be coming back with that live stream for the NBA Finals Game 2. So bring your bets and jump in the comments at 5 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to have Prop Bomb back on with us in this episode. Had a really good time with him and Daft in the last one. Found a lot of really good plays a couple hours leading up to game time. So make sure you jump in there. Quick reminder as well about this Outlier risk-free trial. If you want that for 7 days, go ahead and use the link that's in the description of the video. You can go ahead and get 7 free days of using outlier.bet. One of the best tools out there, my preferred tool for finding all these bets that I'm bringing you guys for both the W and the NBA. And then also want to remind you about the Discord. We do have that popping right now. Really good looks coming, especially in the W, as I continue to transition into mostly W stuff now with the NBA Finals upon us. This is a really good channel in there inside of the Discord where a lot of folks looking at the W already very thoroughly, including myself now that I'm fully into it. So jump in there and get some really good action and some good looks and angles from the whole squad in the Discord. I'll be back with you guys at 5 p.m. Eastern and continue to roll along with this nice record we have in the W so far. So until I see you next, happy betting.